Beloved one, stop for a moment and listen with the deepest part of your heart, because the truth you have been searching for is not as far away as you have believed, and the clarity you have been asking heaven to send you has already begun to awaken within you. You have asked for signs because you were afraid of making the wrong choice. You have asked for guidance because the road ahead seemed uncertain. You have asked for confirmation because somewhere inside you, doubt became louder than your own intuition. You wondered whether you should stay or leave, wait or move, forgive or release, begin again or remain where you are. You have stood at crossroads with your heart divided between what feels familiar and what feels true. But beloved one, there is a deeper knowing within you that has been quietly observing everything. It has watched every disappointment. It has witnessed every sleepless night. It has seen the moments when you smiled for others while privately wondering whether your life was moving in the direction you once imagined. This deeper knowing has never abandoned you. It has simply been waiting for you to become quiet enough to hear it. I, Archangel Uriel, come to you now with the light of divine wisdom, not to give you every answer about your future, but to illuminate the truth that is already beginning to reveal itself within your consciousness. You have been looking outside yourself for certainty, but certainty is not always given before the journey begins. Sometimes wisdom is revealed one step at a time. Sometimes the divine gives you enough light for the next decision and asks you to trust that more light will appear when you are ready for the next one. You do not need to see the entire road. You only need to stop allowing fear to convince you that because you cannot see everything, you cannot move at all. Beloved one, there is something you have known for a long time but have been reluctant to admit. Perhaps you know that a relationship has changed. Perhaps you know that a certain environment no longer supports your growth. Perhaps you know that a dream you once pursued was created more from expectation than from genuine desire. Perhaps you know that you have been living according to someone else's definition of success. Perhaps you know that you are ready to begin something new but have been waiting for a perfect moment that never seems to arrive. You have called this confusion, but sometimes what we call confusion is actually resistance to a truth we already understand. The mind says, I need more information, while the heart quietly says, you already know. Beloved one, do not be afraid of the truth simply because it may require change. Truth may disrupt your plans, but deception will eventually disrupt your peace. You may be able to postpone a decision, but you cannot permanently silence your inner knowing. It will return through the same thought, the same feeling, the same recurring question, the same quiet discomfort that refuses to disappear. When something repeatedly asks for your attention, do not automatically dismiss it. Observe it. Explore it. Ask what it is trying to teach you. The soul rarely screams. It often whispers. Fear screams. Ego demands immediate answers. Intuition often arrives quietly and consistently. Learn the difference. Beloved one, you have sometimes mistaken anxiety for intuition because both can make you feel uncertain. But there is a distinction. Fear often creates urgency, panic, and catastrophic thinking. It tells you that something terrible will happen if you do not act immediately. Intuition can be firm without being frantic. It may say, this is not right, without needing to create chaos. It may say, wait, without making you feel powerless. It may say, go, while still allowing you to move thoughtfully. The more you practice listening, the more clearly you will recognize the difference. This is part of your spiritual maturation. You are not being asked to believe every thought that enters your mind. You are being asked to become discerning enough to recognize which inner voice deserves your trust. Beloved one, perhaps you have been disappointed because you expected your spiritual awakening to make life easier. You thought that once you became more conscious, everything would suddenly align. You imagined that signs would become constant, answers would arrive immediately, and uncertainty would disappear. But awakening does not remove every challenge. It changes the way you meet challenges. You begin to recognize patterns earlier. You recover more quickly. You stop repeating the same lessons simply because they are familiar. You become more willing to walk away from what repeatedly harms you. You become more capable of pausing before reacting. You begin to see the difference between what you can control and what you must release. This is real spiritual progress. It may not look dramatic from the outside, but internally it changes everything. Beloved one, you have also carried a hidden fear that if you choose yourself, you will lose people. You have wondered whether setting boundaries makes you selfish. You have feared that speaking honestly will create conflict. You have worried that if you stop being endlessly available, people will decide you no longer care. But beloved one, healthy love does not require the destruction of your identity. A relationship that depends upon your constant self-abandonment is not a sanctuary. It is a negotiation in which you continually pay with pieces of yourself. You are learning that love and boundaries can coexist. Compassion and discernment can coexist. Forgiveness and distance can coexist. You can love someone and still say no. You can understand someone's pain without allowing them to repeatedly create pain in your life. You can wish someone well without following them into a future that no longer belongs to you. This is wisdom. Beloved one, there is also a reason certain old memories have been returning recently. You may have thought you were finished with them. You may wonder why something that happened years ago still appears in your thoughts. Do not assume that the memory returning means you are moving backward. Sometimes the memory returns because you are finally strong enough to see it differently. The person who experienced the event and the person remembering it now are not the same. You have more understanding. You have more distance. You have more compassion for yourself. You may now recognize that what you once interpreted as personal failure was actually the result of circumstances you could not control. You may realize that someone else's inability to appreciate you was not proof that you lacked value. You may finally see that an ending you once considered devastating prevented you from spending years building a life around something that was never aligned with your deeper truth. Let the past teach you without allowing it to become your prison. Beloved one, your next chapter requires a new relationship with uncertainty. You have wanted guarantees, but guarantees are not always available. There will be moments when you must choose without knowing exactly what will happen. This is not punishment. It is an invitation to develop trust. You are learning that you can make a wise decision even without perfect information. You can adjust if circumstances change. You can begin again if necessary. You are more adaptable than you think. You have already survived unexpected changes. You have already rebuilt after disappointment. You have already found strength in places you did not know existed. Why would the future be different? Beloved one, stop underestimating your ability to handle what comes next. You have spent so much time imagining what could go wrong that you have forgotten to imagine what could go right. What if the conversation goes better than expected? What if the opportunity arrives at the right moment? What if the new path gives you more peace than the old one? What if the thing you fear losing is making space for something more aligned? What if you are not approaching another disappointment but approaching the first chapter of a life you have quietly desired for years? You do not need to force yourself to believe that everything will be perfect. Simply allow possibility to exist alongside fear. Beloved one, your thoughts are powerful, but you are not required to believe every thought. A thought is not a prophecy. A fear is not a vision. A memory is not a prediction. When your mind says, "This will never work," ask, "Do I actually know that?" When it says, "Everyone leaves," ask, "Is that universally true?" When it says, "I am too late," ask, "According to whose timeline?" When it says, "I cannot begin again," remember how many times you already have. This is how you reclaim your inner authority. You begin questioning the stories that fear has presented as facts. Beloved one, there is a new clarity coming into your life, but it may arrive in unexpected ways. Perhaps you will suddenly lose interest in something that once consumed you. Perhaps a person will reveal their true intentions through one simple action. Perhaps an opportunity will appear that seems unrelated to your original plan. Perhaps you will wake one morning and realize that a decision you have been struggling with no longer feels difficult. Do not demand that clarity look dramatic. Sometimes clarity is simply the absence of confusion. Sometimes it is peace. Sometimes it is the realization that you no longer need an answer because you have already chosen. Beloved one, I ask you to pay attention to peace. Peace is not always excitement. It may feel quiet, ordinary, almost uneventful. But if a choice allows you to breathe more deeply, sleep more peacefully, and respect yourself more fully, do not dismiss that as insignificant. Your soul does not always communicate through dramatic experiences. Sometimes it communicates through relief. Beloved one, there is a chapter of your life that is gradually closing, and you may feel resistance because you are accustomed to its landscape. Even difficult situations can become familiar. You may know how to survive your old circumstances so well that the unknown feels more frightening than the pain you already understand. But beloved one, familiarity is not the same as alignment. A cage can become familiar. A pattern can become familiar. A limitation can become familiar. You are not meant to remain in something simply because you have learned how to endure it. There is a difference between resilience and unnecessary suffering. Your strength does not need to be proven by how much pain you can tolerate. Sometimes strength is recognizing when enough is enough. Beloved one, your soul is calling you toward simplicity. You do not need to solve everything at once. Choose the next right thing. Have the conversation. Finish the task. Rest. Learn. Create. Apologize where appropriate. Set the boundary. Make the decision. Take the walk, begin the project. Small acts of alignment create powerful changes over time. You do not need one enormous miracle to transform your life. You need many honest choices. Beloved one, if you have been waiting for a sign that it is safe to become the person you truly are, let this message be your invitation. You are allowed to stop performing. You are allowed to stop pretending that you want what you no longer want. You are allowed to acknowledge that you have changed. You are allowed to pursue a quieter life if noise no longer satisfies you. You are allowed to desire meaningful work instead of constant recognition. You are allowed to value peace over popularity. You are allowed to choose relationships where you can be honest instead of relationships where you must constantly manage appearances. You are allowed to become unfamiliar to people who only knew your old identity. Beloved one, tonight, place your hand upon your heart and say, I welcome divine clarity. I release the need to know everything. I trust myself to recognize the truth. I release fear disguised as certainty. I release the past from controlling my future. I choose wisdom over panic, truth over illusion, peace over approval, and courage over fear. I am ready to see clearly. Then breathe. Do not demand an immediate answer. Allow the words to settle into the deeper layers of your consciousness. Something within you is rearranging itself. You may not see the complete picture yet, but you are beginning to recognize the pieces. Beloved one, you are not lost. You are between versions of yourself. The old identity no longer fits, while the new one is still emerging. This space can feel uncomfortable, but it is sacred. Do not rush back into an old identity simply because the new one is unfamiliar. Give yourself permission to evolve. Beloved one, there will come a day when you look back at this period and realize that the uncertainty was not empty time. It was the space where your discernment developed. It was where you learned to listen. It was where you discovered what you could no longer tolerate. It was where you separated your own desires from the expectations of others. It was where you learned that your peace is valuable. It was where you discovered that you can survive not knowing. And that knowledge will serve you for the rest of your life. Beloved one, the truth you have been seeking is already awakening within you. You do not need to chase it across the world. You do not need to ask everyone else what you should do. Listen. Observe. Breathe. Notice what brings peace and what repeatedly creates inner conflict. Notice what expands you and what continually diminishes you. Notice where your energy becomes alive and where it constantly drains away. Notice which choices allow you to respect yourself. These observations are sacred information. Your life is speaking to you. Beloved one, I, Archangel Uriel, surround you with the light of wisdom and remind you that clarity does not always arrive as an answer. Sometimes clarity arrives as courage. Sometimes it arrives as acceptance. Sometimes it arrives as a boundary. Sometimes it arrives as a new question. Sometimes it arrives when you finally stop asking everyone else to confirm what your heart already knows. Trust the process. You are becoming more discerning. You are becoming more conscious. You are becoming more aligned. The path ahead may still contain mystery, but mystery is not the same as danger. You do not need to fear what you cannot yet see. There is light ahead of you, and there is light within you. Take the next step. Then another. Let the road reveal itself. The truth is not hiding from you, beloved one. It is awakening within you, quietly, steadily, and irrevocably. And when you are ready to see it, you will realize that the answer you were asking heaven to send was already whispering through your own soul.